Welcome to Universal Truths, Exploring the Extraordinary, the space where healing meets mystery and the human experience unfolds in all its depth. Here, we explore the challenges that shape us, the emotions that move us, and the encounters that remind us that there's more to this world than what we see. From personal growth and inner transformation to the paranormal and the unexplained, every episode invites you to look deeper, think broader, and discover new perspectives. This is Universal Truths, Exploring the Extraordinary. Welcome back to Universal Truths, where extraordinary or the unexplained is approached with curiosity, integrity, and respect. What if the unknown isn't out there, but much closer than you think? For centuries, people have whispered about haunted places, strange lights in the sky, noises in the woods, shadows in the corner, and encounters that defy explanation, such as footsteps in empty halls and voices with no clear source. Those moments that make you question what you just experienced. But before we decide something is paranormal, there's a deeper question we have to ask. How do we know what we are really experiencing? Today, I'm going to take you into the space between belief and evidence, into the quiet moments where expectation can shape perception, and where the mind fills in gaps, and where the unexplained begins to take form. This isn't about proving the existence of something. It's about how we investigate the unknown responsibly, why controlled environments matter, and how careful documentation separates discovery from imagination. Because when we slow down, remove assumptions, and observe with intention, the mystery doesn't disappear. It becomes clearer. At times, there are matters that defy explanation, yet the remarkable can be approached with respect, carefully documented to protect your integrity and legacy, and shared with people who truly are curious and open-minded. Sometimes things happen that we just can't explain. My name is Jennifer, and this is the beginning of Universal Truths. So soften your mind, steady your spirit, and let's begin exploring the extraordinary. What is a paranormal investigation, you ask? Well, it's defined as a systematic and ethical exploration of unexplained phenomena, using observation, environmental controls, and documentation. Remember, not assumption or a belief-first conclusion. The key point to emphasize is that paranormal does not mean supernatural by default. It just means currently unexplained. This distinction is critical for credibility. Paranormal investigation involves the examination and documentation of unexplained phenomena. This practice utilizes specialized equipment, historical research, and interviewing witnesses to the first-hand accounts of the unexplained activity, or sightings to seek evidence of these unexplained occurrences, with the goal of assisting clients or unraveling the mysteries of the extraordinary. Places where the unexplained have been witnessed. What is considered paranormal? Well, here some phenomena generally classified as paranormal include unexplained auditory events, which can be EVPs, knocks, voices without a physical source, visual anomalies, which are apparitions, shadow figures, unexplained light anomalies, environmental anomalies, which are sudden temperature shifts or an electromagnetic fluctuation, physical interactions, which can be object displacement without observable cause, or intelligent or responsive patterns that cannot be attributed to known environmental or human factors. What's equally important is what is not automatically paranormal. This would be normal building sounds, electrical interference, environmental contamination, which can be wind, wildlife, plumbing, HVAC systems, so on, emotional or expectation-based interpretations, or psychological priming or suggestion. So what that is it's an implicit memory phenomenon where exposure to stimulus, such as a word, image, or sound, unconsciously influences responses to a subsequent related stimulus. So examples of priming can be a semantic priming is hearing salt, which makes you think of pepper more quickly. Affective priming is a bad mood makes you recall unpleasant memories more easily. Cultural priming, watching a Japanese movie, for instance, might make you see individualism differently in your own culture. Behavioral priming, reading words related to politeness makes people interrupt more often. Here are several more specific Naturally explained examples, often interpreted as paranormal. Sleep paralysis. So sleep paralysis is a temporary inability to move or speak occurring while waking up or falling asleep, caused by a disruption between the REM sleep and consciousness. It is a harmless parasomnia lasting seconds to minutes and often accompanied by terrifying hallucinations, chest pressure, or intense fear. Common triggers can include stress, inconsistent sleep schedules, or anxiety disorders. Another one is environmental infrasound, which is a low-frequency sound wave often produced by fans or pipes and that can vibrate the human eye, causing illusions of shadowy figures in the periphery. Another explanation of environmental infrasound consists of low-frequency sound waves generated by natural sources like volcanoes, earthquakes, ocean waves, wind, and human activity, such as transportation, industrial systems, wind turbines. Sonic booms from falling space debris can also be detected. The next one is carbon monoxide poisoning. Faulty furnaces can lead to gas leaks, causing headaches, auditory hallucinations, which is hearing voices, and feelings of dread. If you do suspect poisoning, call 911 immediately. Also, the number for poison control centers, if you need it, they're open 24/7, is 800-222-1222. Again, the number for poison control is 1-800-222-1222. Carbon monoxide poisoning affects the brain and heart the most. Exposure over time might lead to symptoms that can be mistaken for those of the flu without a fever. Clear symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning can include headaches, weakness, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, shortness of breath, confusion, blurred vision, sleepiness, loss of muscle control, and loss of consciousness. Symptoms related to the nervous system and brain can come on after recovery from carbon monoxide poisoning. The risk of these is higher in older people and people who lost consciousness from breathing carbon monoxide. These symptoms might include memory loss, personality changes, or movement problems. Carbon monoxide poisoning can be especially dangerous for people who are asleep or have used illicit drugs, alcohol, or medicines that make them feel very sleepy. Carbon monoxide poisoning can cause brain damage or death before anyone realizes that there's a problem. They make the carbon monoxide detectors, they're like smoke detectors, some of them are both. I highly suggest that you get those in your house. The next one would be electromagnetic fields, EMFs, which I'm sure all of you who've watched the paranormal shows have heard them talk about EMF detectors. So high EMFs from faulty wiring can cause a sense of induced physical or psychological symptoms that mimic paranormal experiences, including feelings of shadowy presences, extreme dread, dizziness, and hallucinations. They're often caused by the magnetic field affecting the brain's temporal lobe. Electromagnetic field, EMF, exposure is associated with self-reported symptoms known as electromagnetic hypersensitivity, or EHS. Normal EMF levels can vary greatly. Background levels are typically low, between 0.1 to 0.4 milligauss. While nearby appliances can spike, they drop rapidly, as we walk away from them. And they can spike anywhere from 0.6 and higher. We were at one house where hers was around almost 300 milligauss, and that was throughout the whole house. It wasn't specifically by any type of appliance. It come to find out it was some faulty wiring in the house that we had told her she probably would need to get an electrician pretty quickly, and probably not stay in that house until it was fixed. But that's a pretty intense reading. Common reported physical symptoms can be neurological wise, can be headaches, dizziness, lack of concentration, memory problems, and fatigue. Dermatological, which yes, there can be dermatological effects from high EMF. It can be skin sensations such as tingling, burning, or redness. And then there can also be sensory to other symptoms, like tinnitus, which is ringing in the ear. You can have heart palpitations, and it can even cause nausea. Make sure your EMF levels are where they're supposed to be. And that's one of the things that we always try to look at when we walk into an investigation. We do our baseline readings throughout the whole house, make notes of, where we have spikes and what's right there that can be causing those spikes, whether it's the refrigerator or a microwave, any type of electrical system. I know the routers for internet, they give off a lot of EMF. So we try to tell people to make sure your internet routers are pretty good distance away from where someone's going to be, at least 6 feet. You definitely don't want it near where you're sleeping. You want to try to keep it away from you, at least 6 to 8 feet away from where you're watching TV, so you're not sitting in that room and absorbing all that EMF on top of you. It could cause sleep issues like insomnia or disrupted sleep patterns. Reported mental health and behavioral are reported as mood changes. So you have anxiety, depression, irritability. Stress responses can be burnout, exhaustion, or chronic stress-related symptoms. And then you have cognitive decline, which is difficulties with attention or memory. So the next one we're going to go to is suggestive power. So suggestive power plays a critical role in the perception, memory, and reporting of paranormal phenomena. It often blurring the line between the objective experience and a subjective interpretation. So in locations that are well known to be haunted, just the mere suggestion of ghosts can prompt individuals to perceive ordinary sounds as like chilly breezes, a moving object as supernatural occurrence, a phenomenon referred to as subjective power. When confronted with unexplained or extraordinary phenomena, such as Bigfoot, UFOs, or alien abductions, the human mind exhibits a heightened vulnerability to the external influences, so leading to misremembering or misperception, especially in situations characterized by uncertainty or elevated stress levels. So when faced with the unknown, the brain is not a camera recording facts, it is an active interpreter that frequently fills in those gaps with expectations, suggestions, and critical narratives. The next one we're going to talk about is auditory pareidolia, which many of you have probably heard if you've watched the different paranormal shows. Ghost Adventurers, I know Zach's brought this up a couple of times. It's a common perceptual phenomenon where the brain misinterprets random, meaningless sounds like white noise, running water, or a fan as familiar, meaningful auditory patterns, such as voices, music, singing, words, even when there isn't anything present. Like a lot of us may lay at night with the white noise machine that goes shh. If you listen to it long enough, you might hear something in that. You might hear music playing or people talking. That's auditory pareidolia. The next one is grief-induced hallucinations. So individuals mourning the loss of a loved one may encounter vivid, comforting, or even startling sensory experiences, such as hearing their voice or seeing them, which can feel remarkably real. So some of the visual hallucinations can manifest as sightings of your deceased loved one, catching a glimpse of them in your periphery or imagining them seated in a favorite chair. Auditory hallucinations can occur when one hears the voice of their departed loved one, whether it's from a conversation in another room to simply hearing their name being mentioned. Tactical hallucinations may present as a sensation of a deceased presence, such as feeling the hand resting on one's shoulder or experiencing your loved one's touch. Olfactory hallucinations can arise from detecting senses associated with your loved ones, such as their perfume or cologne or favorite dish. So there's a lot that goes into a paranormal investigation. It's not just us walking in or what you see on TV, because all that is edited, so you got to take that into account. You're not getting the whole layout of what these teams are doing on TV because it's just being spliced down to that 1 hour segment in investigation. There's a lot that goes into disproving some things and trying to offer natural occurrences of what this is or what that is, or mental health or grief that the client is going through. So it's not just we show up and turn on a bunch of equipment. There really is a lot that goes into this. While the exact origins of these bereavement hallucinations remain unclear, they are believed to be closely linked to psychological and emotional ramifications of loss. So several plausible explanations for their occurrences can include grief in the mind. During the grieving process, individual's mind undergoes considerable amount of stress. So that emotional burden of the death can lead that brain to process feelings in an unusual way. Additionally, the intense desire to maintain a connection with their loved one may trigger a powerful hallucination. Memory and remembrance. So our brains typically anchor our memories of our loved ones deeply, and these memories may intensify during periods of loss. The brain may attempt to reconnect with the deceased by generating sensory experiences that mirror their presence. Another one is a coping mechanism. For some, these hallucinations can offer solace as they create a sense of ongoing connection with their loved one. This can provide temporary relief from their grief and suffering. neurobiological factors. So research on grief has also indicated changes with the brain. Stress and loss can affect areas of the brain associated with memory and perception, potentially triggering hallucinations. So the next one we're going to talk about is optical illusions and peripheral vision. So rapid shifts in light or shadows, like ectomist or orbs, are often dust, insects, or light reflections caught on a camera or dim lighting. So the human eye is not a high definition camera. It is a specialized organ designed to prioritize motion and low light detection over a detail in the periphery, so often causing the brain to fill in missing information with alarming or ghostly images. Many people report shadow people, and they're believed to be the result of peripheral perception combined with low light conditions. Because the rod cells can only perceive black, white, and gray, partially lit room can lead to the brain interpreting a static object as a moving dark humanoid figure. Caught movement. People often report seeing something move in a corner of the eye, but it disappears when they look directly at it. This is because the center of the eye needs high light to function, and the ghost was a product of the rod-dominated periphery. The pareidolia, or pattern recognition, the brain is wired to find patterns, especially faces, human shapes. In dimly lit environments, the brain can turn, for example, a shadow on the wall into a human form, leading to a haunted experience. Entopic phenomena are floaters and internal eye phenomena that can be mistaken as spiritual apparitions. Floaters. In the next segment, we're going to talk about proper investigation procedures. 1. The pre-investigation preparation is historical and environmental research, send and receive our paranormal questionnaire, interviewing and documenting witness accounts and review the questionnaire with our client, location walkthrough in daylight, equipment testing and calibration, and then we want to do a baseline EMF, temperature, and audio readings. Alright, so number 2 is the investigation protocol. Maintain your controlled environment. So we want everyone to stay together. If somebody has to leave, somebody from a member of the team or the client steps away, we want to document that just that way in case we do get something. In going back and reviewing our footage, we know that, hey, at this particular moment so and so walked away. Next, we want to limit personal movement. Without a controlled environment, the evidence becomes unreliable and data cannot be replicated. Personal bias dominates interpretation. I've been on an investigation where not everybody in the team was there, and we were recording for an episode for something, and they said to go ahead and just reenact it. You can't reenact that because it can't be replicated. It's already happened. So that's not something I'm going to ever do. Clear verbal call-outs during sessions are important, or they can be misinterpreted as something unknown. So if you're coughing or if you're talking to someone next to you, call it out, hey, this is me, just so we know when we're going back and reviewing the footage that we know, okay, this was so-and-so. Allow one person to speak at a time. Wait 5 seconds for a response. So this is when you are doing a spirit box session and you're asking a question, you want to wait 5 to 10 seconds before you go and ask another question. For the team scare that I work with, the founder, Kim, she normally asks about 90% of the questions. I might come on there and ask a question. Shane might ask a question, or even the client might have a question to ask. We just ask that you always wait 5 to 10 seconds before you ask another question. One variable change at a time. Avoid leading questions or provoking language or behavior. This is seen very often when you watch some of the paranormal shows where they kind of provoke to get some information or any type of evidence. That's just not something that any of the teams that I work with, that's just not what we do. Do not make the question personal to you. You are there on behalf of the client. Stick to the reports of activity and research found. So you don't want to go in there and make the investigation about you. If somebody comes on there and says your name, acknowledge that they've said your name. You can say hi, but we want to keep it strictly to the client because we're there for the client. Never make it about you because that takes away from that client. The next one is you want to have respect when you're doing your spirit box sessions. If there is anything there that is an entity, it's not all of them have negative intentions. That's what you have to remember. A lot of these entities or spirits don't know that they're even dead. They can be confused and they may think that you're the one trespassing on their land. So always be respectful when going onto a property and when you're doing your spirit box sessions. Make sure all electrical items that can be turned off or unplugged at the location are, such as microwaves and Wi-Fi routers, so they don't contaminate our evidence or our readings on our equipment. All phones, tablets, laptops must be turned off or on airplane mode to avoid interference with the specific equipment that we're going to be using. Log all remaining appliances or items that remain plugged in and record baseline readings for those items. So if you have to leave on, well, of course you want to leave on the refrigerator. So you want to do a baseline reading on the refrigerator. If you can't unplug the microwave, you want to do readings around the microwave. So we know that at least in that area, how far out does that reading come? Left, right, in front. That way we have that baseline reading on that. And so we know if we walk in that area, we know what that reading's from. Most important, always carry a flashlight and stay skeptical. I can't tell you how many times we've gone on an investigation and I have forgotten my flashlight. So always make sure you bring your flashlight. Even multiples, always have extra batteries. Next, ethical considerations. Every case is confidential unless told otherwise by the client in written communication. Respect for the location, the owners, and the history. Always protect the client's identity unless disclosure of clients is authorized and signed. No fear-based manipulation or encouraging psychological distress. No claiming proof without corroboration. Try and find logical explanations or a natural occurrence for the unexplained activity. Have consideration for the client's pets and condition to their home. You may walk into some of these houses. The condition may not be great. It may be messy. It may be infested. There's no telling what you're going to walk into in a lot of these clients' homes, but you still need to be respectful. You don't know what they're going through in their life, and don't judge. You're not there to judge. You're there to investigate what they're going through. You're not there to judge them on anything. You want to be respectful for the client. You don't know what kind of emotional stress that they're going through. You don't know any grief that they're going through. Going into this home, be respectful. You may not walk into conditions that are ideal, but stay professional. And know that you're always being recorded. I mean, the moment you get on that property, there should be a recorder going at all times because you never know what you're going to capture. So always be mindful of your thoughts. Be mindful of all your comments. I can't stress it enough. Be compassionate and empathetic to their situation. Not everybody lives in the way that you think that they should. Documentation is crucial. This is the next one. You are there to preserve non-biased data. So it validates your findings, it protects your credibility, and you're not there to prove a haunting, but you're there to document and help. Avoid the words haunted, spirits, ghost, or demon. Instead, use anomaly, event, unexplained sound, or environmental fluctuation. Record conditions. So you want to record weather, room temperature. You want to record your equipment details. You want to definitely have list of all your equipment. So like an inventory list. Personal impressions. You want to document if you do get activity, how the client responded to it. That's extremely important. Document any allergies, hazardous areas, any mold in the house, poor wiring, structural concerns, emotional stress indicators. You want to document everything you can. We never know what can be causing the activity in the home or the unexplained phenomena that they're experiencing in this home. So as much documentation that you can provide, as much details that you can provide, and have it backed, have it recorded, have whatever device that you're using is one that you can print out the details from. So like the Ovulus, where you can go in there and see the list of words that may come through on that Ovulus, and maybe through your research you can find coincidences or where that name that came through ties into the history of that property. Anything like that, you want to always maintain documentation in any kind of recorded evidence. Team coordination, assigning roles. So the 3 teams that I'm working with, we don't really have that many members of our teams to really assign the roles this moment, so we just kind of go where we're needed. But you usually have a lead investigator, you have an audio tech, photographer, a videographer. You're usually going to have somebody that's going to be a note keeper or is going to log and document all the equipment, activity, and conditions. So you want an equipment keeper, one that's going to log and document again all the equipment, whether you're checking it in and out, where it's going to be placed, checking it back in, making sure that you have all your equipments accounted for. You want to maintain that chain of command also. Next, evidence review. So you want to classify evidence, which is natural, mechanical, environmental, or unexplained. Next is questionable evidence should receive a second opinion. Keep record of who reviewed that equipment. Keep a clean, unedited copy for integrity. Edited material should be marked as so. Avoid marking evidence as a spirit said hello. Instead, say an unexplained voice was heard and it seemed to say hello. Keep a neutral tone and log the time of the activity. If it isn't logged, it didn't happen, at least not as evidence. Again, if it isn't logged, it didn't happen, at least not as evidence. Next, building credibility. Your documentation and transparency become your reputation. In the future, your reports will speak for you and lead to referrals. So, word of mouth spreads because your show of discipline, your ethics, and your consistency. Investigators who are real will not just participate in this field, but they will advance in it. Your report is your legacy. It honors the truth in a world that sensationalizes everything. Be the reason this field matures, not the reason it's scrutinized. Follow all local laws and get permission. If you are going to investigate a property that is not your own, always ask for permission. Many haunted sites, such as cemeteries, historic buildings, or private property, require permission for entry. Trespassing can lead to legal issues and tarnish the reputation of the team. And to be on the safe side, always bring your personal ID. Many locations have historical or cultural significance. Treat these spaces and any potential unexplained energy with respect. Avoid loud behavior, vandalism, activities that could disturb others, and never remove anything from the location. Energies are transferable, and you never know what type of energy you're taking home with you. If you are removing an item suspected of negative or unwanted energies and have permission from the client or owner of that item, then remove it safely and respectfully in a protective manner. Respect also extends to those who may join you on your journey. Investigating is a shared experience, and collaboration requires mutual consideration. Investigating the extraordinary requires patience. Activity is unpredictable, and investigations can last hours without a single event. One instance we just investigated was the Garrett Coliseum in Montgomery. I have reviewed everything that I have. There's literally no evidence. I gathered nothing. There were no EVPs on the recorders. We didn't hear anything. There was nothing on our pictures, nothing on the videos. The motion sensors didn't go off. There was just no documented evidence of anything. We had a stick figure show up on the SLS camera, but even that, I can't 100% say that that was something unexplained, because my son was standing behind me. Even though he didn't move in the form that the stick figure was moving, I still cannot consider that as evidence of something, because he was actually standing behind me, and the way that the SLS camera works, as it being mirrored, that would be in the same position where my son was. Again, even though my son wasn't moving the way that the stick figure was, you cannot consider that as viable evidence. That had to be thrown out. Other than that, there was nothing, and we were there for hours. I felt really bad because we couldn't provide them with any evidence of anything. The real experience lies in the anticipation of the rare moments when something unexplainable happens. If you're serious about learning how to investigate, patience will be your greatest asset. Exploring the extraordinary can be a thrilling journey into the unknown, where you delve into haunted places in pursuit of paranormal phenomena, seek out Bigfoot, other cryptids, mythical beings, aliens, or gaze at the stars for UFOs. Whether you're captivated by the thrill of encountering the supernatural or simply intrigued by the mysteries, this realm presents a unique fusion of history, science, community, and storytelling. If you are new to this field, I hope you find this episode enlightening and that it offers you the essential guidance in the fundamentals of paranormal investigation and ensures your first experience is both safe and unforgettable. Again, I'm Jennifer, and this has been Universal Truths, exploring the extraordinary. Please go to my website, universalworksofhealing.org, and submit your stories, your questions, and your curiosities, because your experiences may shape a future episode or help others to understand they are not alone in what they are feeling or experiencing. Be sure to pick up a copy of my book, Enlightenment, Helping You Be Your Own Cure Through Open-Hearted Communication and Insight, which is available now on Amazon.com. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay curious, stay grounded, and never stop exploring the extraordinary.